The NHL is terrified of the St. Louis Blues as they continue to dominate the entire National Hockey League, with key players stepping up during the run and Jim Montgomery changing the entire philosophy on this team with the players that Doug Armstrong added. We have a lot to break down in this episode on the hottest team in the entire National Hockey League. So, let's just hop straight into it today. Listen, we've seen the St. Louis Blues win 2-1 versus the Detroit Red Wings to stretch their streak to 10 games. Now, looking at this, we see a key player picked up in this deadline, which is Cam Fowler, which is looking like the trade of the year. I'm just going to throw it straight to you. What's your thoughts on Cam Fowler's performance with this St. Louis Blues team so far?
I have to be honest. I mean, we're new to making St. Louis Blues content, and we appreciate all the support from all the fans who are tuning in. But I thought it was a nothing trade at the time, and I would love to admit that I am wrong right now, right? Like, it's not a nothing trade. They retain salary. They still have one more year of his deal on the books, and he's been fantastic so far this year with the St. Louis Blues. And it just goes to show what happens when you take a player who's been on a mediocre team for almost his entire career, right? Or at least the last little bit of his career, and you put him on a team that's playing some meaningful hockey and really want to get into the playoffs. St. Louis Blues, man, they're on quite a run right now, and it looks like they will end up in the playoffs. It's been really incredible to watch, but he's been a great player. I mean, they have a bunch of other great players on the team that we're going to get to later in the video as well. But as you can see here in the playoff race, like, it is very tight, not just the Western Conference, but the Eastern Conference as well. And the fact that they're now in the first wild card spot is very impressive, and they actually give themselves a better opportunity to maybe make it out of the first round, not only because they're playing so well, but you're not in the last wild card spot where you have to play the best team out of the West. But again, back to Cam Fowler having a fantastic season, only making $4 million against the cap with the retained salary in that deal. And it's looking like it's a very good deal, and they kind of retooled their defense on the fly with this one too. And again, locked up for next year too. Maybe he ends up re-signing with the Blues. They're on quite a run, and I have to give credit to, of course, Jim Montgomery. They got, I mean, we can all agree that maybe they got lucky with him just kind of falling into their lap earlier this season with the Boston Bruins firing him, but he's made a huge difference with this team.
And I mean, listen, Cam Fowler has always been awesome offensively, but joining this Blues team, he's changed everything, and he's not the only guy. With Jordan Binnington, listen, I want to say I was wrong during the Four Nations. Binnington has been outstanding over the stretch of their win streak. Going into his last 5 games, you can pause and read through it. Other than the Vancouver game, which was a must-win to jump them in the standings, we can see Binnington almost at a 960 save percentage, rolling through teams' offenses, helped them 4-1, 6-1, 2-1. This team has been hot. And listen, Darius, we've seen this before by the St. Louis Blues. Going into the All-Star game, being one of the worst teams in the league, not this season, the season they won the Stanley Cup. This is looking like a repeat just, 6 years later. This team has been outstanding. And listen, Binnington's been great. The defense has helped them. Looking at just the odd man rushes, they're allowing the least amount of odd man rushes with 2.7 per game. Best in the league. The NHL average is 6.4. First in slot shots, expected goals, and goals against during the streaks. 9 games and 15 days, all wins. This team is 19-2 over that stretch. But going back to Jordan Binnington, what is your thoughts on just the turnaround of his season since this team has really taken off?
I think the entire theme for the season for the St. Louis Blues, whether it's the forward group, it's the defense, and we're going to get into some forwards as well. The defense, the goaltending with Jordan Binnington, obviously Jim Montgomery joining the team as well. It's that it doesn't matter how you start, it's how you finish the season. We saw that the year that they won the Stanley Cup as well with Craig Berube behind the bench, and they did exactly that, and they finished strong, and they're playing very well right now, and these stats are very impressive. I mean, they're putting up they are defensively sound. Like, they are a great defensive team. They're finding ways to score as well. And not only that, when they do happen to make a mistake, you got Jordan Binnington playing the best hockey of certainly this season and for the last little while right now. He's playing really, really great. I mean, the stats that you just showed, his last 5 games, he's putting up a consistent 960. That is insane. That is mind-boggling, those stats, right? The last little while. So he's been playing fantastic. He's the backbone of this team. He was when they won the Stanley Cup. So he's proving again, like he did through the Four Nations, that he is that guy when the pressure gets turned up. He's there and he's ready to play. So he's been huge for the St. Louis Blues. But again, the whole unit, and one thing that I think a lot of teams struggle with, a lot of teams have a good defensive core. Maybe they have a good, offense, right? But the cohesive unit of both coming together. The St. Louis Blues have figured that out. They're very defensively sound. It's team defense too. Like the forwards have bought in. Everybody's bought into the system right now, and that's dangerous heading into the playoffs. If you're one of the top teams that are kind of struggling right now, to come in and play a team like this that is cohesive in that way, and firing on all cylinders. They bought into the strategy, what the coaching staff is doing with the team, and this defensively sound with a goaltender this high, this team can go on a bit of a run. We've seen it before. They snuck into the playoffs that one year. I say snuck in. They weren't supposed to be there, right, with where they were at the All-Star break. But, they got into the playoffs and they made some noise and obviously won the Stanley Cup. So this has been a very impressive run from this team. And again, they have some weapons up front as well.
And the biggest thing is, listen, going back on the defense real fast, you can notice Colton Parayko has not been in this lineup since March 5th as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a fresh body coming off the injury, going into the playoffs for them as well to help sound out the defense. But like you said, offensively, this team has been outstanding. As you can see, going back here and just ignoring the save percentage, the goals, 6 goals, 4 goals, 4 goals. This team has been scoring at an incredible rate, one of the best in the league, the first in the league in slot shots, expected goals during this streak. This team has been outstanding, and they're not stopping adding new faces. I mean, we've seen Jimmy Snuggerud added to this team on the third line for his NHL debut. Sorry about that. 23rd round, third overall pick in 2022. Snuggerud looks like a perfect piece to help with the team and make an impact. I don't know. Do you have any just thoughts on Snuggerud going into the playoffs? And do you think maybe he's hungry to make an impact to stay on this team, maybe jumping into the top 6 as a full-time player?
I actually think it's, a great opportunity for him coming in, because this is a team that maybe doesn't have too many solidified spots, right? Like he can come in and kind of make some noise and maybe work his way up, like you just said, to the top 6, right? So I think they're putting him in a good spot, and he has a good opportunity here to succeed, to move up if he wants to. Again, I think that the first 2 lines there for the St. Louis Blues have been rolling, obviously, but if you're playing well, I don't know if anything's solidified with this team. So maybe he can move up a little bit. And again, if they do make the playoffs here, which is looking very likely at this point, right? Like if they do make the playoffs, him and any other prospect across the league, getting into playoff games like this is very important for the future of not only the players' development, but the team, right? Because they're going to be the future of the team. And this is a great player coming in for the St. Louis Blues here. Obviously, he's a -1 in his first game. We'll ignore that. It was the only goal that Detroit scored as well. But, you can put that, behind him because he is a young player. He's going to figure out the league, right? So him getting into the lineup, getting some playoff experience is going to be really good for him in the future of this team. And I think it's a good thing. They have some other offensive weapons too, like Kyrou's firing on all cylinders right now. Obviously, Thomas has been great for the last couple of years. You have Buchnevich up there on the first line doing his thing as a power forward. He's going to be a problem in the playoffs, right? They have a very well-rounded lineup right now. And another guy I wanted to touch on very quickly is getting him in an offer sheet. Dylan Holloway from the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, Edmonton has got to be regretting that at this point right now. 63 points on the year. You knew something special was coming with the run that he had last year with the Oilers, but he's made a big difference. That was a great move in the offseason for the Blues. So they certainly have some offensive weapons heading into the playoffs. They've been scoring some goals. They're getting the goaltending. They're defensively sound. They bought in as a team. I think if you're a St. Louis Blues fan, it's not far-fetched to say that, they'll be going far in this year's playoffs.
And listen, Dylan Holloway, we got to talk about him as well. This has been just a story to follow. Since Jim Montgomery has taken over, we can see 26 goals, 37 assists for 63 points on the season. This must have Edmonton Oilers fan and their management in a frenzy, letting a 23-year-old walk for absolutely nothing. Yes, you get a tiny bit of draft capital, but not enough for a 63-point player. But what's your thoughts, Blues fans? Do you think this is a repeat where we did see them jump from one of the worst teams in the league to a Stanley Cup champion? What's your expectations for the rest of this season? Who do you think the team MVP is so far this year? And you can't say Jim Montgomery. You have to talk about an actual player. But that'd be it for this episode. If you enjoyed this, make sure to go down and leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back with another episode, so keep your eye out for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care.